Why hello there everyone, I'm the Kumo Sensei, and I was browsing the internet because why not? And today, I want to talk about the decline of Pizza Hut, because yes, I used to work at a Pizza Hut, believe it or not, a long time ago, and this YouTuber called the Company Man made a video called The Decline of Pizza Hut. So let's watch it and let's see, and I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions on this because I'm interested. But anyhow, let's go.
Pizza Hut is what I would consider an iconic American brand. Thinking back, they were kind of like the perfect family restaurant. Honestly, how many of you watching this have these great memories of eating there with your family? Maybe.
No. I don't know how to put this. I loved Pizza Hut. I think the workplace was, well, my workplace at Pizza Hut was not bad at all. But I was a pretty bad employee because I was kind of slow because I wanted to make quality pizza. But then everybody else was like, no, just make the shit and just send that crap off. But yeah.
You had your birthday party there, or maybe you participated in their Book It reading program where you earned one of those colorful pins, or my favorite, a personal pan pizza. It would sure take a lot to get that pizza, but it was on another level. I'm sure that many of us have similar memories involving Pizza Hut, which is why it's upsetting to see them like this. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying that they are in any immediate danger of shutting down. Pizza Hut is still pretty stable, and I'm guessing that they are going to be with us for quite a while.
That's true. I think Pizza Hut is decent. Oh, that's debatable. But when I was working there, our Pizza Hut was a decent Pizza Hut, though. Luckily, it wasn't as shitty as the others. Because our manager, man, well, my manager was strict. He wanted quality.
But I do have strong evidence to suggest that Pizza Hut has seen better days. In 2019, they announced that they would be closing 500 of their 7,500 US locations over the next 2 years. It's part of their long-term plan that involves closing underperforming restaurants and replacing them. I'll touch more on it later, but for the time being, that is a significant downsizing. In fact, the president of the company, along with other top executives,
Why would they? Dang, I did not know that. Holy smoly.
have expressed that they haven't been happy with Pizza Hut's overall performance. Looking at their sales over the past few years, they have actually been fairly consistent, which might not seem like much of an issue.
That's crazy,
but it
man.
is concerning.
That's some stable stuff. So, for those who are wondering, I was working at Pizza Hut around 2016 to 2017. So, for about, over a year, give or take. And, man, look how steady that is. That's crazy.
Compare that to Domino's, I think we start to see the problem. When they say that...
Exactly. Got too confident Pizza Hut, and now Domino's is going to be up the top.
No one out-pizzas the Huts. I don't exactly know what that means, but it might not be true anymore. In the 1970s, and even well into the 1980s, anyone who was around at the time can tell you that Pizza Hut used to be the national pizza chain. They were a national pizza chain before there were national pizza chains. People had to make the choice of either going to the local regional place or to Pizza Hut. Any other popular chain that you can think of today was not a factor on a national scale until
well, there's Papa John's and Domino's now, so there's a lot of competitors, to be fair.
Some of those smaller chains started closing the gap, but Pizza Hut still remained on top. That is, until 2018. As we saw in the graph, Domino's took over that #1 spot, and over the next few years have only extended that lead. That's meaningful. After 47 years, the world's #1 pizza chain,
doesn't Domino's have more like side choices, such as like their bites and stuff or whatnot?
In that same year, 2018, I actually asked the audience of this channel, what is your favorite of the big 4 pizza chains? And after 46,000 votes, Domino's was the clear winner over the second place Pizza Hut. I believe further suggesting that people have moved away from them. More evidence
Pizza Hut is too expensive, in my opinion.
Franchisor, NPC International, filed for bankruptcy in July of 2020. They were the ones who operated about 20% of the US Pizza Hut.
That's crazy. Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Alright, I'm gonna go a little bit of a tangent here. I personally believe that when it comes to Pizza Hut, I think they're too expensive. Probably just me who thinks that. I know that the prices are similar between, other pizza chains and whatnot, but I think Pizza Hut is a bit too expensive.
involved in that one, but it's not a good indicator of the state of the brand. Plus, it later led to an additional 300 restaurant closings. And
Damn.
then finally, what about the logo change? Through most of their dominant years throughout the 70s, 80s, and 90s, this was their logo. Then, in 1999, they changed it. They added more colors and slanted everything. But then, 20 years later, in 2019, they went back to that old logo. According to the chief brand officer at the time, embracing our iconic Pizza Hut logo is recognition of a time period where Pizza Hut unequivocally reigned supreme because that's where the future is headed.
You know, this quote here is so ironic. They went back in time because that's where the future is headed. What? You're going to get outdated if you go back. But, okay,
I take
whatever.
that to mean that the old logo represents a better time for Pizza Hut, and that bringing it back will remind the customers of those better times. I hope that we can at least agree that Pizza Hut has indeed seen better times. They've lost a lot of control of their market, and in this video, I'm going to attempt to explain why. The very first Pizza Hut opened in Wichita, Kansas in 1958, and it could not have been more modest in the beginning. It was two brothers named Frank and Dan Carney. They borrowed $600 from their mom and used it to buy used equipment and rent out a small building not too far from a university. I thought it was interesting that they called their first restaurant Pizza Hut mostly because they obtained a sign that had only enough room for so many letters. And you know, of course they wanted to use the word pizza, so that meant that their second word can only be 3 letters. They eventually settled on the word hut, and that was the beginning of the brand. If they had a bigger sign, things may have gone much differently. Early on, they valued quality pizza, good service, and believed in it so much that on their opening night, they gave away their pizzas to try to attract a customer base. It was an effective promotion, the restaurant did well, and after about a year, they were able to convince a friend of theirs to operate the first franchise location in Topeka, Kansas. It's also worth mentioning that part of their marketing early on involved this, I guess, stereotypical mascot named Pizza Pete. I believe that it was meant to double as a fun cartoon for the kids, while...
Does this guy not look like the Little Caesars dude? Oh my gosh. Well, wait, which is first, the Little Caesars mascot or this guy here? I don't even know. Oh my gosh.
Promoting the Italian authenticity of their food. Pizza itself wasn't nearly as well known or popular at the time, so something like that was effective in drawing in customers and creating a fun environment. They adopted that red roof logo, started designing their restaurants in the same manner, and continued franchising more and more locations across the United States and even into other countries like Canada and Germany, and by 1971, Pizza Hut had over 1,000 locations, making them the biggest chain of pizza restaurants in the world. 6 years later, when they had more than doubled to over 2,000 locations, they were bought by PepsiCo, and it was Pepsi that was able to take them to an even higher level.
The Super Bowl?
Surpassing 5,000 locations in less than a decade after the acquisition.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the Super Bowl, like, don't Pizza Hut, you know, don't they have the Super Bowl and whatnot? I could be wrong,
and
but
surpassing 7,500 locations when they spun it off, along with the rest of the restaurant division, into its own company that was owned by the public. If you want more details about their time with Pepsi and what was happening with all of that, I do recommend this other video that I made about Pepsi. But that new company that it was now a part of was initially called Tricon Global Restaurants, but soon renamed to Yum Brands, which is how they exist today. Right now, it consists mainly of KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell, though some people have expressed the opinion that Pizza Hut has been the one holding them back and should be divested. Now, when looking at the reasons behind the trouble happening at Pizza Hut, I think most of it can be explained by 2 main issues. The first one being a lack of catchy menu items, and
oh man, okay, this is so true. Lack of catchy menu items. If there was one thing Pizza Hut was always known for when I was working there, was stuffed crust. And man, oh man, do I hate making stuffed crust pizza. Making stuffed crust pizza was a nightmare because it took so much time, to be honest. But I still love Pizza Hut, though. Don't get me wrong. They should sponsor me, by the way. Love you, Pizza Hut. Even despite the fact that I left. But yeah, this is honestly pretty much true in my opinion. I think you take away the toppings for your pizza and whatnot, there really isn't much compared to let's use Domino's. Domino's have so much side choices and so much, you know, other selections and options compared to Pizza Hut. It's almost a joke at this point. And I think it's because Pizza Hut doesn't want to try anything new. But then again, anything new is a risk. Because I remember some of the stuff, you know, the cheesy McBites or something. I forgot.
I realize that this might sound so trivial when you first hear it, but let me explain. Today, seemingly every fast food restaurant has a never-ending sequence of new items that are pumpkin-flavored or Cheeto-flavored or whatever.
I love
Pizza
Cheetos.
Hut was somewhat of a pioneer at this, to a point where I would even say that these catchy, innovative menu items were once a major part of their success. A couple of examples of what I would consider to be more gimmicky ones would be the Edge, with toppings way closer to the edge of the pizza than they should be, or the Big New Yorker, both introduced in the late 1990s. They sold pretty well and kept people coming back to Pizza Hut, but then there's other examples of new menu items that they introduced that I would truly call innovative. Some examples there would be in 1980 when they came out with the pan pizza, or in 1995 when they came out with the stuffed crust pizza.
I love stuffed crust pizza. I love eating it, but I hate making it though.
Famously promoted by Donald Trump. There are countless examples to show how Pizza Hut once had one of the most creative menus out there, which unfortunately may not be the case anymore. In late 2014, you may be surprised to hear this, but Pizza Hut announced an all-new menu. They called it Flavor of Now and described it as their biggest brand evolution ever. I mean, this was meant to be a big deal. They had new ingredients, new sauces, new crust flavors, new drizzles. Just a bold attempt to completely revamp their entire menu to make it appear fresh and more upper scale. And to go along with that new menu, they updated their website, the boxes, the uniforms, the logo. I think that the goal of this was to shift their customer base away from families and more specifically toward millennials. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that most of you barely remember this happening, or maybe not at all, because the whole Flavor of Now attempt was pretty much a failure.
That's kind of funny because when I was working at Pizza Hut around that time, I think that was when that thing was still around, to be honest, because I remember, you know, the pizza meatballs and whatnot.
Already seen, it did nothing at all to help their sales. If anything, they actually went down a tiny bit the following year. The CEO of Yum Brands confirmed that the results were disappointing, and as far as I could tell, it's mostly been abandoned. If anything, it probably just alienated their existing customers more than anything else. Overall, this suggests to me that Pizza Hut is not quite what they used to be in introducing new menu items that appeal to their customers. I'm just saying that the Bigfoot pizza was a little more successful than the Cockadoodle bacon. That's a weird sentence. The second part of their troubles, I believe, can be attributed to being slow to delivery. And I don't mean taking over 30.
Okay, well, I'll be honest, when it comes to delivery and whatnot, my Pizza Hut was not a delivery pizza. It was just more of a takeout, I think. That's what it was.
Minutes to deliver a pizza, so then it's too cold. I mean, taking too long to make pizza delivery, in general, a major part of their business. Here's what I mean. Historically, pizza is like the most common thing to have delivered, right? I mean, now more than ever, but it's been happening for a while. Before 2020, before online shopping, before any of it, people were having pizzas delivered. However, Pizza Hut was once famous for their family-friendly, sit-down restaurants. In the beginning of this video, when you were thinking back to those memories of birthday parties and personal pan pizzas, which is another Pizza Hut innovation, by the way, they took place inside of a Pizza Hut, not at home eating pizza delivered by Pizza Hut. It was,
you know, when it comes to dine-in at Pizza Hut, mostly it will only be on Sundays. As a matter of fact, we consider Sundays to be the rush days or the busiest days because of buffet in the mornings.
It was like an event. It was an outing. It was not just about the food. In fact, they didn't even offer pizza delivery at a large scale until 1986, and the only reason they did it then was because Domino's had been so successful with it. You might even say that Pizza Hut's lack of delivery during those times is a big reason that Domino's was even able to get their foot in the door in the first place. I do have to...
So that means that Domino's had a head start. Well, GG Pizza Hut, but I don't think you're a match for Domino's now. Not for the longest. Or maybe not ever.
To say that after a late start, they have been aggressive with it, but I think the issue is that it's such a fundamental change as far as the public's perception. They've had all of these crazy marketing attempts to try to make people associate Pizza Hut with delivery. In 1989, they famously delivered pizza to the White House. In 2001, they delivered it into outer space. In 2016, they delivered it onto Mount Kilimanjaro. When they closed those 500 locations, the reason for it was to eliminate the dining area and to reopen them as small smaller buildings. Their fastest growing store models are the smaller ones that they call Delco, short for delivery and carryout, and part of their reasoning is that if every time you see a Pizza Hut, it's a little tiny building, you're going to reconfigure your mind and associate them with delivery. So to summarize all of this, Pizza Hut is a very different place than it used to be. They've been around for long enough to have the world change around them. Parts of what made them popular before are no longer relevant, and they've been forced to adapt to those changes. Whereas some of their competitors, like Domino's or Little Caesars, first grew in that new environment, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like Pizza Hut is the older generation, struggling to fit in with the new one. Some of their attempts to do it.
Yeah, they're struggling to fit in with the new ones, but yet they want to change their logo and go back. Okay, makes sense to me, I guess. Great PR move.
Do seem to be a little slow or potentially misguided, but they are attempts. They know where they need to go, they just don't know exactly how to get there, which gives me confidence that they will eventually make progress in the right direction. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Pizza Hut?
I guess the video ends here. I'm gonna give you my personal opinions about Pizza Hut. I think one thing is that the prices are a bit too high in my opinion. And I know that's debatable, but yeah, and then taste. Let's be honest. Everyone has their own preferences of what they want to eat on a pizza. Not to mention, a lot of people either hate Pizza Hut or they're fine with it or they love it. It's really up to the individual. But for me personally, I would not go to Pizza Hut because I think it is too expensive. I'd rather just eat something like Little Caesars or something more affordable. But overall, though, I want to read some comments real quick because I'm quite interested myself. As a general manager back in the 90s, we handmade everything. Cut cheese, made dough, cut veggies, etc. Then they decided to centralize the toppings. Frozen cheese, pre-cut veggies were all sent to us. And then the flavor of deep dish just sank. Doesn't take a genius to see why it's completely lost its luster. Rest in peace. I think this right here sums up this comment here sums up the whole issue with Pizza Hut. But with that, I'm the Kumo Sensei, and yeah, that's really about it. See ya.